Welcome everybody to week 3 of the semester. This is an overview of what you will be working on this week. This week has kind of a lot for you to do. It's in little nuggets though, so I think it'll be okay. I just wanted you to know that you might need to plan a little bit more time to just finish everything. Next week is not quite as hard. But this week has a lot of nitty-gritty things to learn. So without further ado, let's go on to the next slide, and I have some updates for you. The first update is this is week 3, so I will be starting to evaluate your work. The first 2 weeks, I just kind of check to make sure you're doing everything. You're getting credit for completion. I know that the learning curve of an online class is difficult, and you have to figure out how to navigate everything, how to get everything open, how it runs, all of that. So I know that, and I gave you 2 weeks to kind of just figure out how to complete your work. And now this week I'm going to start, and there's a rubric for discussion posts. The discussion posts are really important in an online class because they take the place of class discussion. This is how I know what you're thinking. This is how you interact with your peers, and this is how learning takes place. So the discussion posts are important. I will be using the rubric that is, there's a little picture on this slide, but it is posted in content under week 3 as well. I also have posted all of my annotated copies of the mentor texts that we read last week. So what white food meant to first generation kid, school days, the physics of forbidden love, and the good daughter. I have them all in a folder. They are not in part 1 or part 2 because I have them just in week 3. So you can find them there, and you can go and take a look and see if you missed something or if I missed something. All right, so those are my updates. And now let's move on to part 1. In part 1 this week, we're going to start with a quick write, a warm-up quick write. So as soon as we're done with this presentation, or if you want to stop this presentation and go and do this right now, that's fine. This is on the discussion board. It is listed under week 3 as well. And what you're going to do is you're just going to think of a person that you know. Any person that you want, somebody that you know well. And you're just going to do a list. It is just a list of things. This is not a hard write, but what I want you to do is just notice what's sitting around them. What's on the kitchen counters? What's on the tables? What's on the floor by them? What's in their refrigerator? What's in their car? What's in their pockets? The things that are around them. So you're naming things that are around them. I want you to do that, but I don't want you to name the person. I don't want you to be like, this is my grandma. No. Leave that off. And then when we go back in, when you read each other's, you can guess to see if you can guess who the person is. Now, obviously, you're probably not going to have proper names like, oh, this is your mother who is Sally Fields or whatever. And Sally Fields is a famous actress, I know. But you won't know their names, but you might know who they are. Like, this sounds like a grandmother or an aunt or a best friend or whatever. So we'll just do some guessing and see if we can figure it out just by listing the things. It's just a little fun, quick write. So do that first. The next thing we're going to be talking about is description. I'm going to do a whole video. It's kind of a long video explaining description. There's going to be parts where you're going to stop the video and do some work. There is a full folder under content, week 3, part 1, description. So everything about description is going to be in that folder this week. So that is something that we will be doing. You're going to be needing this essay called Father, which is posted in the description folder. So we're going to be talking about description and how to include description in your personal narrative. Of course, we're going to have week 3 of Serial, episode 3, Leakin Park. You're going to be doing a discussion board on that. And what I would like you to think about is, how would you break up episode 3 into acts? I have done that here for you, right here. And so what I would like you to do is, as you're listening and looking and annotating your transcript, maybe label those parts, label those acts, so then you can start seeing how good stories have different acts. Okay? So there's that. And then, of course, there's a discussion board that goes along with Serial, just like every week. The next task you're going to be doing is you're going to take a look at your personal narrative, and you are going to sketch your acts of your personal narrative. What are your acts? So remember that we did this with the 3 Little Pigs, right? Now it's your turn to do it with your own personal narrative story. If you have some index cards, that might be a helpful thing. There is example in week 3, part 1. So there's a whole worksheet on how to do this, and this will be put into the assignment folder labeled Sketching Your Acts. So that will be due on Friday. Okay? In part 2 of week 3, here's your next job. I'm going to be going over a strategy. It's really a revision strategy called satellite writing. It is a wonderful, enriching activity that you can do to enrich your personal narrative. I am going to be requiring you to try it 3 different ways this week. You're going to be doing a satellite writing for description, a satellite writing for dialogue, and a satellite writing for tense. And this overview is a little presentation to tell you what it's all about and how to do it. It is really a great strategy because it gives you a wealth of ideas and writing to choose what to put in your personal narrative. So I'm really, really excited for you to learn how to do some satellite writing. The next thing I'm going to talk about is dialogue. This is a VoiceThread. So you will be going on to VoiceThread. The link is in week 3, part 2. And this VoiceThread, you're going to be interacting with a text on this VoiceThread, so you can practice how to write good dialogue within a story. And then, after you're done with the VoiceThread, you're going to hop on over to your writer's notebook discussion board, and you're going to do a little practicing with the State Farm commercial. So that's all in the VoiceThread. It's explained, and then it's explained again on the discussion board. But that is on the writer's notebook discussion board, so it's only you and I that will see it. And I'm really excited about seeing how you do with this practice on writing dialogue. The next thing that we'll have is you have our two last mentor texts. Last week you had 4. There are 2 more. One is Salvation by Langston Hughes, and the other one is My First Love Story by Evelyn Lauer. There is a discussion board, and this is the same thing that you did twice last week, so this should be pretty easy. Then there's another presentation about tense, and we talk about drawing out our acts, sketching our acts, and seeing what the acts are in each of the well-told stories that we've talked about. And whenever you're messing around with order and time, then you have to worry about getting your tenses correct. So this is a presentation, and this is actually going to be Jan's presentation. So you will hear her talking through the tense. And this will give you some idea of how to deal with the tenses with the shiftiness of time. This is another folder in part 2. Dialogue also has its own folder, so all the stuff with dialogue is in the dialogue folder, all the stuff with tense is in the tense folder, just to keep those organized for you. And so there you have it. You will look at that presentation. There's a chart, that's this chart over here that I have posted for you. And then if you need more help with that, there's a little Writing Center link that is linked here. And then you'll do one satellite writing with tense as well. And I know I'm going through this pretty quickly because that's it for week 3. So don't forget, you should be looking at your initial feedback on your personal narrative brain dump. I haven't read any at this point because everything is due at the same time that this video comes out. So I'll get that done as fast as possible. Your draft 2 for your personal narrative is due next week. And I would like a cover letter on your personal narrative that explains the changes that you've made and has any questions that you have and highlights any concerns that you have about your paper. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm excited to go delve into all of your writing that you did last week, and I hope you have a really great week 3.